This is a vocal booth, and this is one of the better hearing testing booths that I could find. It has a nice interior treatment, but more importantly, it has this big window so that when people come in here, they don't feel like they're closed in. I can remember having somebody come in Dallas one time and crying because they did not want to go into the booth. And I just don't want to have that happen to anybody. I also like the fact that it has this kind of a treatment on the side. It makes it feel a little bit more warm and a little less intimidating. So I don't want anybody to be frightened coming in here. A vocal booth is a hearing test booth, and that helps me to make sure that when I'm testing somebody's hearing, I get the best possible responses that I can. I want to be able to find out where you really hear the softest. I don't want any, when I do a hearing test, I want it to be as accurate as it possibly can be. It's really important that it be accurate because otherwise I can't even begin to tell you what you might want to do next or where you stand. So it's really important that I do a good test. Okay, the very first thing I do is I test you with speech, and I test with calibrated speech that's pre-recorded because it's very well controlled, and I can be as sure as possible as I know that I can compare your responses to other people's responses. It's not biased by my accent or by the fact that I'm a woman. I want it to be very unbiased. I also do, besides speech testing, which is often done, I do speech and noise testing. A lot of people who come in complain that they can't hear as well in a group anymore. And so I needed to have some kind of measurement of trying to find out how big a problem that was. And the Hutchison, which is a speech and noise test, allows me to do that. It also gives me kind of an idea of what's going on with your inner ear in kind of an indirect way. It allows me to find out if, for example, there are some people who have hearing losses that even with hearing aids have a lot of trouble hearing. It helps me know that you might be that person. If you are that person, then I need to talk to you about other types of things like FM systems that you might need to have in order to be able to hear people better. I want to make sure that when you come through here, you get the information you need. You get the information to take home with you that you can review at your leisure. I want to make sure that you get the best possible setup in terms of what will really work in your life, not what I think will work in somebody else's life, but what really will work for you and be helpful for you and be affordable for you, I hope. Okay, after the booth, this booth is part of a local network, and it exports your hearing test over here to a bigger screen where we can sit and talk about your hearing test. Now, if you have a big enough hearing loss, sometimes what I do is I have a lot of demonstrator hearing aids. I program those, and then we talk about your hearing loss so that you can hear me clearly. I really want you to have no loose ends and be really sure about what we've talked about. I don't want you to have to guess about anything. I'm going to send you home with a packet that you can look back at later because we're going to go over a lot of things, and I know that it may be confusing or frightening or something you don't necessarily want to do to come in here, but I want you to have information later so you can look at it. I give you contact information. I want people to call me if they have questions. We'll go over it. That's part of what I do. We can do demonstrations of hearing aids. We often do, as much as I can. If someone has a hearing loss and I think I have something that is a good choice for them, they leave that same day, the day that they have the test, they leave that same day with something that they can try on a test drive. Because otherwise, it's kind of meaningless. It's really not something that most people are really going to internalize. It's all kind of theoretical. But if you can see that it really works for your life, then you can understand that it might be worth doing.